Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of the When in Doubt Sports Talk. Look forward to weekly recaps where we talk everything sports. You can expect these episodes every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Let's get right into it.
All right, to start off this week's fantasy sports talk, I would like to talk about how this league, in the first 2 weeks, we've seen a bit of a decline in overall passing game. If we look at passing touchdowns and how they've been throughout the past few years in the first 2 weeks of football, in 2021 we had 110 passing touchdowns in the first 2 weeks. 2022 was 105, 2023 was 86, and this year we've only seen 69. So those numbers have been declining over the years, and I don't think that shows us much except for the fact that defenses are getting stronger at defending passes. Rushing touchdowns have been about the same in the past 4 years, but you look at some of the defenses we're seeing. Specifically, I'd like to point out the Chargers and the Steelers. Both have been really strong, both of whom have allowed 13 points, and the Steelers allowed 16 points in the last 2 games, which is actually insane. And I think we just see defenses being a lot stronger and getting stronger over the years, and this year specifically restricting a lot of the pass game that we see happening. This league used to be a really pass-heavy league, and I think this year we're going to see the opposite, more of a rush-heavy league.
Next up, how can we not talk about Tua Tagovailoa? Sorry if I absolutely scuffed his last name, but everybody does, so don't hate me. He has 4 concussions already officially. 1 in his college years and 3 in the NFL already. Obviously, after this most recent one, which happened in the Dolphins versus Bills game, he was hit by Damar Hamlin, ironically, and received another concussion. There were many people that reached out to him, coaches, players from other teams, who told him, it's not worth it, dude, just hang it up, retire. And I'd genuinely be surprised if he wasn't considering an early retirement, but within almost a day, he came out and said he has no plans to retire and he wants to be back on the field before the end of this year, and honestly, as soon as possible. So massive round of applause for Tua. Poor guy. He's absolutely been through the ringer. It's crazy that he's going to keep going. I really hope this doesn't affect him beyond football, because I know concussions can really mess with your brain, and I hope that he's able to do well for the Dolphins, but also just live a happy life after football, and with this many concussions, we'll see if he's going to be able to do that.
One NFL team that has stood out among the rest in the first couple weeks is the Saints. They have been dominating NFL teams, and everyone thought, personally, week 1, I thought, oh, that's not going to happen again. The Cowboys are going to win. And that didn't happen. They ended up destroying the Cowboys. And like I said earlier, defenses is becoming key to the NFL. They have allowed the 6th total lowest yards. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but allowed the 6th lowest yards. But not only do they have a good defense, their offenses went crazy. Their total point differential, they have outscored their opponents by 62 points in just 2 weeks of NFL, which is insane. They scored 91 points in the last 2 games. Derek Carr is statistically the best quarterback in NFL right now. That's obviously a hot take, but statistically, according to sources and stuff, he's the best. And we also see Alvin Kamara talking about that run game being more important. He has had over 100 yards, not rushing, 100 total yards per game, rushing and receiving. But the Saints are starting off with a crazy start. Everyone thought it was a fluke, and now we're starting to think after the Cowboys, maybe they're onto something. Maybe their defense and offense are clicking just enough where they are outscoring teams by around 31 points a week right now.
Absolutely crazy, and honestly, I want to throw in one more stat on the fly. Did you know Derek Carr has led a scoring drive on every possession this season? He's currently 15 for 15, when every single time the Saints offense has been on the field, they've scored a touchdown so far.
I did not know that. No turnovers?
No turnovers. 15 for 15.
Wow.
He's led a scoring drive. Not a touchdown, but a scoring drive every single drive so far, proving that maybe Derek Carr is him all of a sudden. Moving right along, we got to talk about Bryce Young. He was the number 1 draft pick in the 2023 draft, and after his first 18 starts in the NFL, he has 16 losses and 2 wins.
That is crazy.
I mean, that is absolutely horrible. The Panthers head coach came out, Dave Canales, and said, Bryce Young is our QB, he is our guy. And then less than 24 hours later, he benched him for week 3 and there started Andy Dalton. Big turn of events from what the head coach was saying, but after 2 losses and literally only having 2 wins in the past 18 football games, it's no surprise that they're trying to throw something in different and seeing if they can make a change, as we've seen other teams. For example, Sam Darnold on the Vikings, out of nowhere, QB that was kind of a journeyman type QB, and all of a sudden he starts winning big games for the Vikings after beating the 49ers this week. So we'll see if Andy Dalton can kind of pick up some of that steam as well.
Commanders versus Giants. The battle between trash cans. No, I'm just playing. But
literally,
this game was a crazy game. And if you're looking at it from just the box score and you see, Commanders won 21-18. That makes sense, right? Sounds like a pretty normal game. But if you look deeper into it, you'll see that the Giants actually scored 3 touchdowns and the Commanders scored 0. No touchdowns. So it's a crazy game. The Commanders kicker actually kicked 7 field goals, scored all 21 of their points. He kind of put the whole team on his back. 7 field goals. I'm pretty sure it's a rookie kicker too. If I correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's a rookie kicker. 7 field goals to win the game. And the Giants, you might be wondering, they scored 3 touchdowns. Why did they only get 18 points? Well, that's because on the opening drive, opening kickoff, Graham Gano, their kicker, got injured chasing down Austin Eckler. And so they had their punter kicking the first extra point. He missed. Then they attempted 2-point, missed them both. So
yikes!
It was kind of a crazy game, and yeah, great game. I mean, if I was a Commanders kicker, I'd be hyped after that.
Yeah. Next, talking about a team that isn't a trash can and is literally one of the favorites to win it all this year, the Eagles. Heading in, they were one of the favorites to win it all. And honestly, I don't think that's changed. I would say they probably still are. With that being said, Saquon single-handedly basically lost this team the game. With that being said, I don't want to hit on Saquon too much because he has already had a ridiculous year. He was the first Eagle running back to start and have 3 touchdowns in one game as his first game as an Eagle. So that's absolutely insane. I mean, it's Saquon Barkley. He's ridiculous. If he's healthy,
he'll be good for about 4 weeks.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, but if he's healthy, he's going to be ridiculous. And he was throughout the whole game. He had a chance to catch a pass and put the game away on a 3rd down, and instead it tipped off his fingers. Kirk Cousins, the GOAT himself, Kirk Cousins drives down the field, absolute dog in him, and scores a touchdown to win the game. It was an absolutely crazy game, back and forth. Gavin had the parlay down. Saquon couldn't get stupid 5 more run yards for Gavin to hit. It was a rough night, but rough night for Saquon as well.
And something I saw about that game is actually, on that last drive, before Saquon dropped the ball, the Falcons had a 0.7% chance of winning the game, according to NFL Next Gen statistics.
Yeah.
And they ended up winning the game on those odds. I just thought that was insane. One player that surprised a lot of fantasy managers and just NFL fans as a whole this week was Kyler Murray. They played the Sunday afternoon game at 3:05, and within the first half of the game, he had outscored all other fantasy quarterbacks just in that first half. He had what would be considered a perfect passer rating of 158.3. He only completed 17 of 21 passes, still 81% completion rate, just not a lot of passing going on in the NFL these days. 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had 59 rushing yards. By the end of the game, he had 28.5 fantasy points. And considering that that's what he had at the end of the game, it's not, I mean, that's a good game, but that's not unextraordinarily high for a fantasy quarterback. I think that just goes to show that passing games is not what it used to be. Defenses are getting stronger. We're seeing them score less.
No. Before we wrap up this week 2 of the Sports Talk, we got to mention something outside the NFL, and that is Caitlin Clark scoring her career high of 35 points to help beat the Dallas Wings 110-109. Some fun facts about Caitlin Clark, because she's obviously just a dog, and if you don't realize that, you're just insane. She already has more career assists than 75% of all players in WNBA history. Let that sink in. All players in WNBA history. This is her first season as a rookie, and she already has more assists than 75% of them. She already beat the single-season assist record with 317 assists, and counting, with plenty of seasons still left. And in Caitlin Clark's first season, she's currently 1st in assists and 5th in points, and no player in WNBA history had finished top 10 in points, while being the outright leader in assists ever. So this just goes to show the Caitlin Clark effect is real. I mean, more people than ever are talking about the WNBA, watching the WNBA, and some people say, oh, it's just because the WNBA is getting better and it's more mainstream. I agree. I do agree with that. But with that being said, I think Caitlin Clark is one of those things where, realistically, if somebody told me that I was going to be sitting down doing a sports talk episode talking about WNBA, I would laugh at them. And now here we are. And the reason? Caitlin Clark.
All right, thank you guys if you are still here and made it to the end of the week 2 of the When in Doubt Sports Talk. I think it was a really interesting week to watch, just football in general, and I think that what we've seen in these past 2 weeks is really show us what we can expect in the future weeks of football.
Yeah, I agree. I think this NFL season has already had crazy upsets and teams and players coming out of nowhere and finding success. I'm excited to see if that will continue throughout the rest of the season.
And yeah, stay tuned for more exciting content. We'll be posting every Saturday and Wednesday at 9 a.m. For our podcast on Saturday, Sports Talk on Wednesdays. Check out all the links below. All of our links, social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, everything's on there. OnlyFans, FeetFinder. You'll find all that below. Go ahead, follow those. Give us a look up. And yeah,
we'll see you on Saturday.